starting the walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first, you'll notice that on the new Campervan range we have 20-inch anthracite alloy wheels with this one. And opening the door, you do have your weight plate, so 3.8 ton gross vehicle weight. If you were wanting to put a tow bar on and tow with this, you can tow up to a train weight of 4.9 ton, and then you do have a front and back axle weights. And then in here you'll notice you've got your tyre pressure size, so your tyre size and your tyre pressure, so just make sure that you pick the right size and then you can get the right pressures off there, which conform with the manufacturer's standards. And then just underneath this black sidebar, just here, you've got your outlet for your sink. So that's just your cold water feed outlet, so that'll just bring out cold water, or anything that you've put down the plug hole will drain off. So you might just want a bucket or a container to go underneath there to collect that water. And then at the back you've got your fresh water underneath the flap, so using the key you can open and unlock this lockable freshwater filler cap, push it in, turn, carry a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site, and then you want to pop it in until it overflows, and then that's when you know that you've got a full tank of fresh water on board. Here you have your hookup points, so if you wanted to charge the vehicle on the drive before you went away, or if you've gone to a site where you've paid for your electric, you'll use their electric for hookup. So you get a hookup lead, lift the collar and slide and hook the vehicle up first, then do the site so that you're not walking around with a live lead in the wet, so there's no risk of you getting electrocuted by the wire. Holding 230 volts. Across the back you've got storage cabinets in here, storage underneath your rock and roll bed, which you can access through the insides of the motorhome. And then you do have your Lpg locker, so this is where you fit one 907 camping gas bottle, so it's butane. And what you need to do to get on the pigtail is thread the pigtail in by resting it on the top and then spin the bottle, and that'll connect the bottle to the pigtail, and then you turn the gas supply on and off from the top here. So you'll have a plus and a minus. Obviously plus is on, minus is off, and you can turn the gas supply on and off. On the back of this vehicle you have got rear parking distance sensors, so you've got a parking pilot on here with the parking sensors, and this one's got the tailgate, not the twin barn doors. And coming round to the passenger side, you haven't got much on this side apart from your fuel filler. So you take the cap off and fill with fuel, and then you've got your AdBlue. So your AdBlue on a transporter is about 12 to 15 litres on these. Just because it's a new diesel engine, it does take AdBlue, which cleans your catalytic converter out at a certain temperature to stop the buildup of soot and carbon deposits, just to keep your engine as clean as possible. So you can buy that on the pumps, which is slightly cheaper. I think it's about 150 a litre for AdBlue, or you can buy it in the drums. You can buy it in 10s or 5s and just top it up. But you will get a light on the dash. It'll tell you when the AdBlue is needed if you just put it in as soon as possible, because if you allow the mileage to count down once you get the light, it'll give you a mileage countdown. If you allow that to go to 0, the engine won't start, so just top that up as soon as you can. You can turn your airbag, your passenger airbag, on and off should you be putting a car seat or a child in the front. And then you do have your tool kit here, so you've got a jack, a brace and a tow knife in there. That just lives in the back, but we've just taken it out to show you. And then your bonnet release is in the cab, and it's just beside your accelerator pedal, so you can pop the bonnet and have a look underneath the bonnet. So You've got your second stage catch here. No stay as it's on gas struts, it holds itself up. But you do have your brake fluid, your oil, and your oil dipstick for checking your levels. Your screen wash, which is the main one you're going to need for topping your screen wash up. You've got your coolant, and then you do have your negative and positive of the battery. So if you ever need to jump start another vehicle off the camper, or you want to jump start the camper or put a charger on, you can put it on. Obviously negative this side to the left, positive to the right. Once inside the vehicle, you've got your 12 volt control panel. So if you're hooked up, you will have 230 volt. If you're not hooked up, then you will just have 12 volt off your leisure battery. So make sure that you've got enough charge in it before you leave to go off while camping, if you're just going to use 12 volt. So you've got a master switch in the top left hand corner which turns the vehicle on and off, and then you'll notice the second switch in is battery L, which is your leisure battery reading. So at the moment it's showing you how full your leisure battery is. So it's not fully charged, but it's in the green. And then you can press the V and view the vehicle battery, which is the V-dub battery. But always make sure that it's on battery L and not battery V, because that's the battery that the motorhome or the campervan side of it is going to use, and you don't want it to drain off your engine battery by using it for the diesel heater, the lights, the fridge and all that other bits and pieces. So do make sure that you do use the leisure battery, as that's the battery that was designed to power the fridge, the lights and the diesel heater. You've got the pump here which will pressurise the water to the cold water tap, and then you do have your lights here, so that'll turn on these lights, and then there is a switch for these lights just down here. Underneath you do have a 12 volt and twin USBs, followed by a double 230 volt socket. So when you're hooked up, these will work. When you're not hooked up, they won't work because you haven't got an inbuilt inverter on board. So in the kitchen area you do have a cold water fed tap, which is from your onboard freshwater tank. So make sure that the pump's on and you'll get a pressurized flow of cold water through there. And then for cooking you do have 2 gas rings which work off your gas bottle. So once you've had these on, allow them to cool down before you put the lid down, because the lid is glass and heat can shatter it. So just do be careful, just make sure that they're nice and cool to touch, and then you can pop the lid down. You've got loads of storage underneath the sink, and then 2 doors on the front of this one, but it is through loading, so you have got no division in the middle. And you've got your waste pipe here which runs to the outside, which is where you'll need your container of some sort just to catch the water or the waste you've put down this plug hole. Cutlery tray, and then to operate the fridge you simply turn on and off here. It's a 12 volt compression fridge, so just make sure that you've got enough charge in your leisure battery. Obviously when you do travel and start the engine, it does charge the leisure battery. Once the vehicle battery is up to charge, it'll transfer the wasted charge to the engine, to the leisure battery, sorry, from the engine battery. So this being the warmest setting and then this being the coldest at the bottom. So just make sure smaller snowflake warmest, bigger snowflake coldest. You've got a freezer box which you can remove, just pulls out for a larger fridge, where you can remove your shelf and put, and then you do have your salad drawer at the bottom. Drinks holders for your milk and your bottle of pop. And then behind the seat is where the table lives, which goes on this rail here. So if your passengers in the back want the table while travelling or don't, it can either be put on or packed away. Underneath the driver's seat is where the leisure battery is, and you do have another 3-pin 230 volt socket and a 12 volt cigarette lighter point. Diesel heater vent, so this will just vent the heating into the vehicle from the diesel heater. Underneath your seat you've got storage which you can access from front and back like I've shown. And then in the wardrobe area, which you've got shelves, you've got your EC155 unit, which is your power supply unit. So it's charges the leisure battery when hooked up. So light will illuminate once hooked up to mains power. But you do have your trips on here, so there's your trips. So if you've tripped the vehicle, make sure you try here before you try your main site, or if you're not receiving power, just press your trip tester and that'll see if it's your end or the main supply end. And then you do have all your fuses which are listed, so do carry some spare blade fuses with you, and you can replenish the fuse should the fuse blow. We've got embroidered seats, so on the rock and roll bed and on the cab with Tyne Valley Motorhomes, as it's an exclusive range custom made for us. But to operate the seat, pull the middle, pull it out, and then what you want to do is you just want to put your weight there, and there you have created the bed. So that's your double bed. And then to get it back up, pull the strap and make sure that it's always locked in before you do start travelling, so it's safe if you've got people with the belted seats on in the back. And then you always need to make sure, again for safety reasons, before you put anybody in here, that this seat is locked in. So when it's up like this, it'll still slide back and forth. You need to just push it down so that it goes over this bolt, and then it's locked in, so it's safe to travel in the back of the vehicle. At the window in the kitchen, you just press down and you'll be able to slide it open. So you've got ventilation when cooking, or if you just want ventilation in the summer when it's warm in the vehicle. But you do have van shades on here. You've got a blackout blind on there for on an evening, and then on this one you've got them as well. So you've got them all the way around on all windows, so that you can black the vehicle out on the camper side. So you'll just need a silver screen on the windscreen and side doors. So to create the extra 2 berths, as this is a 4-berth vehicle, you do have the bed board above, so it's on a 2 gas struts, which gives you more height when getting changed or walking around the vehicle. You're not banging your head. But when you're using it as beds, pull it down, and you do have another bed board to put a mattress on, and you can sleep another 2 people up here. Got fly screens for in the summer. When it's warm, you can get a bit of air circulation going up here. And then on this side we've got another one. But you do have the safari view on the sky on the pop top, which means you can zip it down here and you can open it up. So you can open it right the way up and have a look out the front as it breaks the canvas in half. But you do have a large PVC window on the front of the skylight, in front of the pop top, for a good sky view. So when you're putting your roof down, you need to always make sure that you've got a door open, because it releases the pressure, and then it's easier to pull down. You want to clip this together, which just helps pull the canvas together. And then there's 2 handles, so pull down on the handles, bring it so far, and then you want to pull the canvas in on the sides and on the front, so that it doesn't get trapped between the roof and the structure of the van and rip or tension. And then you want to just tuck it back as you're pulling it down and pull it down that further bit so it's right the way down. And then you've got your straps. Make sure your straps are on both sides. And then you just pull it in. You can either cut these straps down as they are a bit long, or you can just tuck the strap away, because once it's strapped in on both sides, it is securely fastened down. So just tuck that away, and then the good thing about this conversion is that you can, on most, you've got to look at the roof when driving, but on this one, you've got a handy sliding false roof that covers the roof, and you wouldn't think there was a pop top on, because it gives a nice finish to the cab. Now in the cab, which is a T6.1 VW transporter. So starting off on the door, you've got your child locks, and then you do have your driver and passenger electric windows, followed by your little turn lever here, which does the right and left mirror adjustment. But if then you turn it at the bottom, you've got power assisted folding wing mirrors, and then just turn it back to the center and it'll drop back down. But opposite on the other end, you do have heated mirrors, so if they were ever wet or if it was ever foggy and you wanted to clear your view, just put your heated mirrors on. Or if they were icy or if it was snowing, you can put them on and you'll always get a clear view out your mirrors. You can lock and unlock the van from here, so that this is the button you want to press on a night to lock yourselves in. Traction control disactivated, which is TCS, so if you're stuck on wet grass and you're struggling for traction, turn it off and you can give it a bit more revs as the ESP doesn't kick in. Your lights on this one are automatic, so you just leave them on auto. They'll come on and off with the when it gets dark and when it gets light. Or if you wanted to turn them off, at the top, side lights, headlights, you pull out and you've got your fog lights. Headlight adjustment here, so if you want to adjust your headlights, it's just this little switch here to drop the beam pattern. You've got your rev gauge, your temperature gauge, your speed and your fuel. Always make sure that you've got a quarter of a tank of diesel or more for the diesel heating to work effectively, as it's on two different levels, from the main intake for the V-dub to the intake for the heater, and you don't want to cause an airlock, so always make sure that you've got a quarter of a tank of diesel or more. Controls on the steering wheel, so you've got skip a track or radio station, or your Bluetooth tracks, or it is Apple CarPlay ready or Android Auto, so you can skip through your music if you connect your phones via a USB. But if you go up and down, you've got your digital speedometer, oil temperature once the oil gets warm, consumption, so this is your average consumption, or should I say your instant consumption. Next one's your average consumption. You've got your range, so how much fuel's in your tank, so it's 190 litres in there at the moment. 190 mile, which is just under half a tank. Your AdBlue range, so it tells you that you've got 6,500 mile until you'd be empty on AdBlue. But it's good that it's telling you that your minimum refill is 2 litres, your maximum is 3. So if you put 3 litres in, your AdBlue's topped up fully. Your driving times, you can just press OK and you can clear that. Your distance covered, and your average speed. That's all on there. But if you use these buttons here, you can go from vehicle status, tells you that one of the doors is open. You can go to telephone and you can connect your phone. You can go to audio and it'll tell you what radio station you're on, and you can change that by going up and down. As you can see, a list of radio channels have come up there. Your driving data, of course, is the one we've just been on with your miles per gallon, your average fuel usage, your range, your AdBlue levels. That's all on there, but you can skip through those, or you can go to assistance, ACC disactivated, which is just adaptive cruise control. And then this side, you can turn your cruise on and off at the top. This button in the middle works your cruise, so this is your adaptive cruise control. So this is the distance that the vehicle will start to slow down and react to the car in front. So like normal cruise control, you would just set it away to 70 miles an hour or 65, and then if a car in front was to start to brake or a car was to cut you up, you'd have to slam on the brakes and turn the cruise off. Well, on this, it'll slow itself down to react to that car. So if the cars in front start to brake and you're sitting at 70, the vehicle will keep the cruise control on, but it might slow down to 60 or 55, or turn the cruise control off and you'll have to brake. But this is just the distance of how far back you want to stay when the cruise control's on. So some people like to be as close as possible, some other people like to keep a distance back, but you can all adjust that through here. So there's 5 different settings of distance, but to set, you would just go plus and minus on here to set your cruise control. You can resume it to the last speed set before you cancelled it with the foot brake, but you would just press set for the speed limit. And then you do have a speed limiter, so if you press here, you can turn on your, whether it's adaptive cruise or speed limiter, you just go up and down, click speed limiter, and then you can go up with the speeds, and it goes up in 5 mile an hour increments. And if you feather the throttle, it'll not go over the speed set. So if you're going through like an average speed camera zone, you can set this until you put your foot right down, floor the vehicle, and what that will do is it will override the speed limiter as a safety feature to avoid you being cut up or causing any collisions on the road. Indicators, high, to flash people out, you just pull like a normal car, pull it towards you. 5-speed manual gearbox with lift the collar into reverse, bring on rear park and distance control, which is just your sensors. Temperature, fan speed distributions, whether you want it on your face, feet screen. You've got 1 to 6 being your 6 being the highest fan speed, and your temperature. But this vehicle is fitted with a heated windscreen, so if you look in the windscreen, you'll see little wiggly lines, which means it's great for in the winter when it's frozen or when it's snowing and it's covered. You can put that on, and within 30 seconds that'll be all de-iced, and you just wipe it with the wipers and you'll be able to be on your way. Recirculation, heated back screen as you've got the tailgate, so you've got the rear window and your aircon, so it must be on at least one or more for the aircon to work. Your hazards, park and distance control, you can turn that on and off here, and start stop. So start stop will only work under certain factors, that you don't have all of this on all the time, and that the battery is at a good enough charge to turn the engine off and to start it back up. So if you've had it parked up for a month or so, don't expect your start stop to work straight away. You will have to give it a run and put some charge in the battery, and then the start stop will then work. Handbrake is down to your left like in a normal vehicle. You've got a 12 volt and 2 USBs, but on the new vehicles Everyone's changing from standard USBs to USB-Cs, so if you need to connect your phone for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you will have to have a USB-C lead or a USB-C adapter to connect your normal USB into that. On the head unit, so you've got your volume this side, which you can also turn up on the steering wheel. You've got your radio, which is FM, AM, DAB. You just select your band, press 1 to 6 to save your favourite, or should I say 1 to 15 to save your favourite channels. Telephone settings, select the mobile phone and you want to search for a phone, and that's how you would connect your phone, but you want to search on your device as well as this searching on the head unit and find VW. Press pair on here, and then it'll ask you if you want to download your contacts. Press allow and it will download your phone book into the head unit, so you can scroll through your contacts and select someone to ring, or if someone rings you when you're on the road, it'll come up with a name if it's saved in your phone book rather than just a number. You also connect here if you want, obviously connect through Bluetooth for your Bluetooth audio. You've got vehicles, so you can view your vehicle status, so it says that the boot is open and or a door is open. So at the minute the back door's open, so it's telling you that the door's open. Your data is obviously just since start. We've covered no miles because we're just on the forecourt, but it's doing 6.9 miles per gallon, but that's only because it's got 300 mile on the 300 mile on the clock. It's done no miles. Once that's ran in, it will achieve the manufacturer's miles per gallon. Convenience consumption, the aircon's been on, so that's drawn off your fuel, so it's taken a bit out your miles per gallon. And then your heating, obviously we've had your heated windscreen on to show you before, so that's been on as well. Settings, so you've got time, date, screen, Bluetooth settings, factory settings if you've ever got to put it back to a factory reset if it's playing up, you can do it there. Media is obviously Bluetooth audio or USBs or SIM card. You can put an SD card in there full of songs as well, just in here. Apps, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, MirrorLink, all through your USB, so USB-C again. Sound, if you want to adjust the tempo, the mid and the bass. The sound focus, so you want that in the middle, you can adjust it here. And your volume, announcement, you can change that so that your announcements come in louder than your volume and so on, but that's all explained in the handbooks. And then you've got your legal information, which is just your top rate the diesel heater. Press the square button in the middle to wake the heater. It'll tell you the date, the time, which the time's incorrect on here, so we'll get that changed, and the voltage of your leisure battery in the top corner. We've got the menu here, so you can scroll through, obviously language, time, settings, running time, you've got the temperature of inside of the vehicle being 20 degrees and the air humidity temperature, which is 21 degrees. And then if you press the button again, which is like the command button, it says starting up, and this is how you start the heater. Obviously 22 degrees is what it's set to, 20 degrees is what it is at the minute, so it's going to warm it up by 2 degrees. You can go up and down the temperature, and you can go all the way to 30 degrees of the heating. And that tells you the heating's on and it's operating, so that'll start to go up, and that'll start to go up as well, with the temperature of the inside of the vehicle and the temperature that the heater is kicking out. Always make sure to stop it, you just press this, stop, shutting down, but always make sure that you've got a quarter of tank of diesel or more in the main tank, because the intake for the engine is a lot lower than the intake for the heater, and you wouldn't want to cause an airlock. So starting, and then that's your diesel heater away, you'll hear the fan kick in and it'll start to warm the vehicle. Copyright and so on for the head unit, but you don't really need to know about that, and a phone number for customer services from VW. Obviously there's shortcuts, radio, media, menu, voice, which is just your phone, apps, and your phone again. But like I was saying, to black the carb out, you will need a silver screen which clips on the doors, top of the doors, over the windscreen, and that will black out, which is also great for on a day like this when it's really sunny, because it reflects the heat, but then in the winter it keeps the heat in. We've got your lights.
An emergency call has been triggered. The emergency call has been manually cancelled.
Now SOS, so should you be involved in any collisions, you can press SOS and that'll ring VW's call centre and get you the emergency services out to you. Should you not be able to make a call yourself, you can just press that button. And then you've got an information and a service light up here as well. But it will come on when it needs a service on the carb and tell you. But we do recommend every year that you have it serviced. First year being oil and filter, second year being a major service, and then keep rolling like that, because it's a camper. It might not do the miles that it needs to do through being a camper van rather than being a van. That is that VW recommend, but we still recommend that an oil and oil filter change will be good for the vehicle to keep it healthy and in good condition. Hi, I'm Colin from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and I'm here presenting our brand new partnership with Rock and Roll Campers with our new exclusive line of VW camper vans.